Hi guys, it's Nancy. Welcome. If this is your first time here, thank you for being here. I have two kids and I homeschool them both. I have a fourth grader and I have a sixth grader. And today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing this fun curriculum. This is a new to me science curriculum. I have completely jumped on the Beyond the Page bandwagon for a lot of our subjects for this upcoming year. Now, I have tried moving beyond the page in a previous year and it went really well, but I approached it very differently at that point. I had, there are people in, I think it was their government unit. It was one of their lower level government units and we did it family style. And when you do a family style versus doing it like one-on-one, it was a little bit different, especially as I was adapting and modifying it to fit both kids in different ages, you know? And so now I'm circling back and I'm trying it again. So I'm going to share with you the science curriculum that I'm going to be doing with my fourth grader. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe and join. I am not very consistent with doing my YouTube videos, although lately it does seem like I've been doing like a whole bunch, but I actually pretty enjoy it being here. I enjoy it a lot. I usually hang out on Instagram, and so you can always follow me on Instagram too. It's the same username, Into the Rabbit Hole with me. And I'm usually a lot more active there, not as active here, but again, I'm really enjoying being here, so I hope to be more consistent with my videos. If you're clicking in the background, that's my dog. He's walking around on the tiled floor. Okay, so let's jump into the curriculum. So I ended up getting the entire set of science for ages 8 to 10 because I have a very young 10-year-old. But even if I didn't, to be honest, I still would have picked it because I just love the theme. So what I did is I looked to see what they were going to be covering for that year. And I kind of made my decision when I was trying to decide whether to go for the 8 to 10 or the 9 to 11. I just judged it strictly on what I found to be more interesting for that particular child of mine that I'm going to be doing it with. So when you flip it onto the back, it kind of like lays the whole foundation on how the program's done. They really approach like an interdisciplinary model, meaning that it's going to tie across all the different components. It's going to tie across in your social studies and in your language arts. So I'm going to show you the science and social studies units are kind of like intermixed in here, and I'll show you what's what, but it will relate to the language arts over here. So like, for instance, if you see this in wholes, that's the literature book that they're going to be reading. And they have a corresponding science unit, rocks and minerals. Now, you don't need to do the whole like language arts, like the science stands alone. So do the language arts, it stands alone. And same with the social studies, it stands alone. So you don't need to get language arts to do this for it to be like to have all the moving parts. You don't. And as a matter of fact, we're only doing the science here. We're not doing any of the history because I'm using something else for history. And then the language arts, I'm actually doing the 9 to 11 for language arts. Have I shared it with you guys? I think I shared it. If not, I did an unboxing, and in there I kind of like showed all the things in there. So go take a look at that. It's one of the most more recent unboxings that I did if you want to take a look at what the 9 to 11 like looks like. But anyway, so you have dirt and plants, and I'm going to take you one by one through everything. But that is a science one. Native Americans is going to be a social studies one. And then ecosystems and ecology is a science one. Magnetism and electricity, science. Power of the people, social studies. Forces of nature, science. Africa and Asia is social studies. Rocks and minerals, science. Europe is social studies. And animal adaptations is science. Early explorers, social studies. Work tools and simple machines, science. Okay, so that's the flow in here. So when you look actually for their sciences for their history, I should say, for ages 8 to 10, there actually, in my opinion, wasn't a lot in history. You have one there, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, versus science, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know? Anyway, just some food for thought. Okay, I'm gonna take you through like each of the books, and I happen to have like all the books because I purchased this as an entire bundle. They were having this sale. They had a sale where it was 10% off period and free shipping. But if you got it as an entire set, you could do like an extra 15% off, I think it was. And so that was like a really good deal. And so I was like, well, I'm going to do it because it looks really interesting. So I'm going to take you through the dirt and plants one together, and we'll walk through that one together. But the others, I'm just going to kind of show you like what it is. Okay. So this is the very first one, dirt and plants, and you do it with this book. So not all of them come with a book, and I'll show you that when we get to it. But this is the assigned book with this. Now you're just not only reading the book, there's also text in here that you're going to be reading. There's sometimes YouTube videos in here linked. There's sometimes like, I don't know if the science has it, but I think the math has it, like some sort of game app that you can like do and stuff. But I know for sure YouTube videos are often linked in here. And then there's graphic organizers, and there's experiments that you're going to be doing in addition to the book. So here's the book, and I'll just like flip through it so you can see what it looks like. And it just looks so cute. It looks so cute. And this is what I want to do with him. I just want some science that's going to bring the love of science back in with him, that we can just do together, that I think will be fun, you know? So that's the very first one. And then you have ecosystems and ecology, and there's no book to go with this one. So there's no book. But again, remember, there's text that is in here that they include for the child to read, and then there is YouTube videos and things of that sort. I don't mind that there aren't any books like assigned for this one, ecosystems and ecology, because I plan on still incorporating my own books anyway. So that just makes it easier for me, because then I can just bring in that outside element, like the outside books and stuff, and really kind of like make it our own type of thing. So there's that one. The other one is magnetism and electricity. And this is the one that comes with it. This, a true book, physical science, electricity, and magnetism. If you've never, this is a whole series, and they're all really good. So, but I don't think that we've ever read through this one. But that's what the inside of that one looks like. So I thought that one would be fun. And then here's the next one. This is Forces of Nature. And it comes with this book, or it goes with this book. And also too, in case I didn't mention, you can get these on their own. And I think each book roughly, like each like workbook roughly, I think is $20. So if you can get it from the library, you don't need to get it with like the literature portion. You can save costs by seeing if your library has it, or going on thrift books or something, Aid Books, and trying to get it a little bit cheaper, you know? So I just wanted to throw that out there just in case. You don't have to get everything as a bulk thing. You can totally just piecemeal it. So you can just try this, for instance, and just do this before doing a big investment and just getting everything. You don't have to get it like in bulk, you know? But anyway, there's that. And then this is the book. And that's what it looks like inside. So I also went with this one because there's some subjects in here that we haven't dived as deep. Earth sciences, animal sciences, the human body, the solar system. I'm trying to think of something else. Maybe plant sciences too. We're actually really solid in. We're really, really solid. We've done a lot of that. But a lot of this other stuff, we just haven't done it as much, you know? So that was another reason why I went with that. And then the next unit is Rocks and Minerals. And this is the book that goes with it, this Nat Geo Kids one. And this is what the inside of that book looks like. Sorry, I have a cold. And I think that's going to be, I mean, it's like, look at this one. Here's the rock cycle. And then, so it's talking about weathering. And yeah, there's different rocks. And I have like so many additional things in here that I can add to this too. There's rocks is always like a fun one to do and learn about, you know? So anyway, that one. And then animal adaptations. I love it. That and biomes we're really strong in, but it's always like a fun one to do. So I totally don't mind, like, you know, you're always going to learn something. We've covered it almost every single year, but there's always so much to learn. How do animals adapt? If you don't know this Bobby Kalman, this author is really good, and there's a whole entire series. I think that Bobby Kalman also does like the different biomes, if I remember correctly, landforms or something, but this author is like a really good one. And so, I mean, it's a cute little picture book. I mean, I mean, it's a picture book, but it's an informational one. I just think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be perfect. And then the final one is this one, but this one doesn't come with a book. So work, tools, and simple machines. And that is the final one. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the first one. Now, I haven't given this too much attention, although this weekend I'm definitely going to have to because we're starting this on Monday. And I know that there's some supplies. And talking about supplies, hold on, before we get into this. Other things that were included when you get it as a set was this dig, like a dinosaur skeleton one. It's just like a dig kit. Like that. And then another thing is I got the kits, the science kits to go along with it. Now, they are really hefty and heavy, and I'm not even going to try to... They're like, I don't even know, like maybe like 20 pounds a piece here. And you get semester 1, and then there's a semester 2. And I am not even opening it up right now. I'm leaving it right in here where it's nice, safe, and protected. But I just didn't even want to mess around this year with like random things. And I'm just like, I'm just going to get the kit. And with the sale that they had, it essentially came to like, I got one of the kits for free or something. So I was like, okay. Okay, so this is the one that we're doing on Monday. And again, I haven't looked. Like, I just got it in the mail. I got it in the mail on Monday, but I've been so busy, I haven't really had a chance. So this is basically like a 2-week study, but, or I should say a 14-day, however you schedule your school day. If you do 3 sciences a week or whatever, then obviously it's going to take you more than 2 weeks. But soil, you're going to spend 2 days. Plants, 2 days. Oh, sorry. I hooked up a sneeze. Okay, it went away. Seeds, photosynthesis, trees, you're spending 2 days. Compost and decomposers, plants, animals, and people, and then a final project. And I have no idea how long the final project's going to take. It could be 1 day, it could be a week. I don't know. But again, I wouldn't even care. If it says 2 days, I don't really care. It could take a week for all I care. Or we could be done with it in 1 day. Like, it's just some sort of like guideline for you to go off of, you know? Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so I have vocabulary. This is for the entire unit, I believe, vocabulary. And it does like a review on what it's going to cover for this entire unit, meaning this entire like book, you know? And then it gives you a materials list. And this is what I like, because even though they say it's like common household goods, like that you can have like laying around the house, I don't have some of this stuff, you know? So like if it belongs as part of the, like if it came in the kit, it will tell you it's in the kit, and the other stuff you got to get, like dirt. Like, so unless I want to go shoveling over here in the backyard, like I got to go to my garden center and I got to pick up some dirt, you know? Glue, scissors, coloring pencil, science journal. See the kit with the styrofoam cup? Like that would have been so annoying. Like, who has styrofoam cups like laying around? That's why I got the kit. Ziploc bags, we almost all have, right? 6-inch square thin cloth. Could be annoying, but I think we all have kind of rags laying around, like old t-shirts and stuff. We could have made do. Blindfold, again, I can make do because we probably have old rags around I can use as a blindfold. But see, 2-liter soda bottle, I know I don't have that. Especially as we've been eating healthy. Like, I don't have a soda bottle laying around, 2-liter one. So anyway, so I like to look over here, and they have it broken down by lesson. So lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, 4, and so on, right? So you can just look over here at the lessons you plan on doing, know what you have to go and get, like a small knife or a small potted plant. Like, what? Like, unless you have one, but what are you going to be doing with that plant? You may not want to use one that you have lying around the house, you know? So anyway, there you have it. And then it continues on over here to the next page. Okay, so here's the very first lesson. We'll go through the very first lesson together, okay? Oh, sorry guys. My nose is just like, okay. So here you have questions to explore. How is the soil dependent on living things? How are living things dependent on the soil? So facts and definitions. So soil is made out of all these things. And the layers of soil include these things, right? And then these are your skills. What does S mean? What does S mean? I feel like I missed something important. Maybe over here where it says how to use beyond the page. What does S mean? Does it tell me? I don't know. I don't know. But look, this is interesting. Daily schedule. Your language arts reading should be 30 minutes. Your language arts lesson, a 60-minute block. Science or social studies, 60-minute block. Physical activities, extended activities. So this is interesting to see. So 1 hour, a 1 hour block daily. So for instance, when they're telling you over here, 2 days, so that would be 2 hours. You know, that's why it's split up among 2 days. So that's kind of an interesting guideline and stuff. All right, guys, I don't know what S means. I don't know. Skills, I don't know. Observe and describe the properties of soil, like color, texture, and capacity to hold water. Investigate and observe the different soil, investigate and observe that different soils absorb water at different rates. Determine the ability of soil to support the growth of many plants, including those important to our food supply. Identify the basic components of soil. And then it has that. So these are the skills that they're going to learn in their objectives, right? So these are materials that you're going to need, which you already know because it told you in that one materials list in the beginning what was needed. And then here's an introduction. Give your child a cup of dirt and encourage him to share what he knows about dirt. Ask him why it is one of the most important resources on the planet. And then reading questions. So hold on. Have they told us what to read yet? No, they haven't told us what to read yet. All right. Why is dirt important? Have I missed that? Did they tell us to read out of the book? Why is dirt important? What are the components of soil? How is soil made? What is organic matter? Why is it an important part of soil? What lives in the soil? How are they dependent on the soil? How is the soil dependent on them? Why is soil important to people? Why do people not survive without soil? Describe the 4 layers of soil. And then before we get to the activity, so hold on a second. Materials, dirt. So I'm assuming it's just, you're gonna read dirt. It just doesn't break it down by like, hey, read pages 1 to 2 or something like that. Like it doesn't, do you know what I mean? Like you're just reading the whole book, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Over 2 day, like a 2-day span. You know what I mean? I don't know. Okay, so you have that. Let's look at the activities. All right, components of soil. Ask your child to reread. All right, so reread. So I'm assuming because we've already read it, just like I inferred just now, it's just a given that you're going to read that book, okay? Ask your child to reread page 8 in the book of dirt. Put a blindfold on your child and place about half a cup of each soil compartment, clay, silt, sand, and gravel in its own zip top bag. That sounds so zip top. Just a Ziploc bag. Let your child feel each component of soil and identify each by texture. Oh, so they're blindfold and they're going to have to identify it just by touch. Place a label on each bag according to your child's guesses. Then take the blindfold off and let him analyze each bag. Ask him if he wants to change any of the labels after looking at the components. Once you finish, be sure to save the soil components for future use. Note, silt can be found at almost any river, stream, or lake. If you cannot find silt in your area, substitute flour and explain that silt particles feel similar to flour. And guess what? If you got the kit, it's in there. Select one of the following options. Okay, so that was your activity. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it, right? Now you get to select any of these optional activities, and you have 2 to pick from. Okay, so you have that. Option 1, give your child the components of soil. Option 1 sheet. On this sheet, he will identify and color each component of soil. Then he will match the description at the bottom of the page with the components. Let him feel the difference between sugar and flour. And then you have the answer key in here. So that's one option. Here's the other option. And then it's just giving you more information over here, texture-wise, what it feels like and how to identify it. So option 2, give your child the component, and it says advance. So give your child the components of soil, option 2 sheet. On this page, he will identify and color each component of soil. Then he will write his own sentence that describes the texture. So this is just an extension basically of the first one, but there's more of a writing component to it. You know, now he's writing sentences describing the texture of each component. Okay, so you got to pick one of those 2. Now, here's your second activity, and it's not optional, right? So you had your the guessing game, blindfolded one, right? And then you have activity 2. Now you have to do that. Okay, so you have 2 with one of the options that you have to pick. For this activity, your child will try to grow seeds in different types of soil. Let your child mix varying amounts of the components of soil along with some planting soil or organic matter in small containers where seeds can be planted. Oh, so you're just changing up the composite mixture and seeing which seeds grow best in it. You know what I mean? And I'm assuming, obviously, because you need the things to grow. It's not a one dayer, but probably by the end of the couple weeks or 3 weeks that it takes you to do this, you'll have some sort of growth that you can see, you know? And then he can record the question he's hoping to answer for the experiment. In which mixture of soil do seeds grow best? Ask him what plants need to grow. He should think about the best place to set the plants and how often to water them. He can record his hypothesis on the experiment page and guess which soil will be the best for growing plants. After 2 or 3 weeks, look, I'm on it. I already knew. After 2 or 3 weeks, he can determine in which type of soil the seeds are growing. The strongest and largest, he can use a ruler to measure the plants in the cup. Okay, that was day 1. Now, day 2, you have your third activity. Which soil holds water? Okay, reread the book, Dirt. Tell your child that he's going to experiment with which soil type holds the most water, clay soil, sand, or potting soil. Ask your child to record in a science journal his hypothesis about which one will hold the most water, and then he's going to be recording that. So sand was able to hold how much water, potting soil, and then clay soil. Walk him through the experiment. Let your child use a sharp pencil to punch 3 small holes at the bottom of a styrofoam cup. Tell him to trace the bottom of the cup on a paper towel. Yeah, and then you cut the paper towel out, put it inside the cup, and then you add the soil on top. Yeah, the sand and the soil on top. And then the water is poured over it. And then ask him to measure the water once it stops dripping, using measuring spoons or cups depending on the amount of water that dripped out. Oh. Okay. Yeah, let him use a bowl or measuring cup to catch the water that's being filtered at the bottom. So it's going to catch the water at the bottom. So it's gonna leak, right? So you're gonna leak. So you're pouring a lot of water in there. Does it tell you? Half a cup of water. All right, so half a cup of sand, half a cup of water. Measure how much water comes out. And you're going to do that for the sand, potting soil, and clay soil, okay? And then, yeah, he's doing it with all of them. And he's going to record the observation. Ask your child the following questions once he's completed the experiment. Which soil held the most water? Which soil held the least? How did some soils hold more water why did some soils hold more water than others? How do plants affect the absorption of water on topsoil? And then your next activity is what's in the soil. Ask your child to reread pages 14 and 17 in Dirt. In the picture on what's in the soil page, hold on, we're going to go look. Hold on, here it is. 14 to 17. What lives in the soil? And then, so these are the pages, right? Okay. So he's going to reread those pages, draw examples of organisms that live beneath the soil. Beneath the picture, he can write a paragraph that describes the importance of living things in the soil. And then here's another activity. These aren't optional, although it's up to you whether you're the ultimate decider on whether you want to do them all. But if you want to do this curriculum in the way it's intended, it's not optional. Like you're doing that. It will tell you when it is optional. So far, that was another one. Now, life in a bottle. Follow the directions on 30 to 31. And we're going to create a soil ecosystem. So hold on. Let's look. 30 to 31. Life in a bottle. Oh, that is cute. See, but this is why I got this curriculum. My son, every single one of these activities, every single one, my son is just, he's gonna love it, you know? So anyway, life in a bottle. Activity 6, we need soil. Ask your child to list and illustrate in a journal 3 reasons that soil is important to people. Then let your child walk through the house and identify things that indirectly or directly came from the soil, such as wood, furniture, fruits, veggies, spices, cotton, clothing. Ask your child to list 3 ways that people are dependent on soil, and then it gives you the answer in here. All right, wrap up. Ask your child to describe how soil and plants are dependent upon each other. So you're just doing that orally. Discuss what interdependence refers to. Discuss that interdependence refers to a relationship where 2 things are dependent on each other. So these are just back and forth conversations that you're having. And then sample answer. And then here's a life application. Let your child examine the soil in your yard and have them identify the components of that soil. So maybe walk around your yard and see if you can identify them. So these are the reading comprehensions day 1 that they told us to do. Remember that? Day 1. So why is there an important? What are the components of soil? How is it? Yada, yada, right? So these are the questions. And it continues on over there. And then these are all, it goes with activity 1. Option 1. Remember, we had options. Option 2. Remember that? So this is the components of soil. Identify the type of soil, color it in, label it. Right? And then here are the descriptions in here. And then here is option 2. So remember, it was the one that was different because your child can write a paragraph or a sentence underneath it. This is just labeling. You're just, what type of soil is this? And you're going to label it. This one takes it a step further and you're writing a sentence to describe the texture and feel of each different type of soil. Remember that one? All right. And then here's activity 2, your hypothesis sheet with soil 1, soil 2, or soil 3. I think that's the one that leaks, like measuring the water, right? I think that was the measuring the water one. And then what's in the soil? Oh, those are the creepy crawlers, right? Like what lives in the soil? That was that one. What lives in the soil? Or they can just do their own notebooking. You don't have to do this. They can just diagram that on their own in their notebook if they want to, you know? And then that's it. So we just went through an entire lesson. That's what one of the lesson is. And I'm just like, I'm curious about, all right, so she's in it because I'm like, we already read the book. So like we read the book. So now what other things, like where are we getting our readings from for plants? Do you know what I'm saying? So tell your child that today she's going to begin her in-depth study of plants. Explain that plants can fall into 2 categories. And then they're giving me text here. I knew it. We're going to have a YouTube video to watch from the Missouri Botanical Garden. So then you have woodsy plants you're going to learn, and then you're going to learn, and then you have your activities. So you read a little bit about the big objective that you're learning about. You're going to watch this video, and then you're doing your own activities, and look how cute this one is. So I am really excited for it. This is, I think, going to be a really great match for my youngest. This would not necessarily be like a great pick for my oldest because he's just not into these type of things, you know? But for my youngest, I think this is going to be so awesome. I'm really, really excited for my youngest. Okay, guys. I'm out of breath now because my nose is all stuffed up and I've been talking and stuff. Hopefully that has helped. I can't review it because we haven't used it, you know, but hopefully that helped. You guys see like a flip through and stuff. I honestly have been very impressed with Beyond the Page. What happened, and one day we'll have to do like a separate video on this, but I was impressed the very first time that I used Beyond the Page. The problem is that I did it family style and it turned out decent. And I was impressed with it, even doing it family style. But honestly, my personal opinion, I don't think Beyond the Page is meant to be done in family style. It is very like, I feel like just one-on-one with a child and doing it is probably the best way of like doing it. If you want a family style one, I think that there are other options out there that will better facilitate that. But I think you would lose some of the magic doing a family style. But again, to each their own. That's my opinion on it. But as for one-on-one with a child who likes this kind of stuff, I think this is going to be great. And I'm excited. I'll keep you guys updated, okay? If you guys want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys. See you later.